Jai Gurudev. Let's check if this is really live or it's. I'll just wait a couple of more minutes. Yeah, looks like this is live. If you can hear me, please let me know in the comment section that I'm audible and the sound is okay. Okay, perfect. So let's start by chanting Om three times. 3 बार ओम का उच्चारण करते हैं. A deep breath in. And if our eyes are closed, slowly and gradually we may open our eyes. धीरे से आंखें खोल सकते हैं. So today's knowledge sheet number 75, Annihilate conflict. When you are in a harmonious environment, your mind picks up any excuse to be in conflict. Often small things are enough to create a big turmoil. Have you noticed this? This is so true. When everything is perfect, then small things make a big difference also. When you're wearing a white shirt, one small spot and it seems to be a big deal, isn't it? But when you're wearing a colorful shirt and something falls on it, you don't even notice it. So when you're in a harmonious environment, that's when the mind picks up any excuse to be in conflict. For example, when we are at office and maybe the lift breaks down and you have to climb a flight of stairs to reach your office, you say, "Oh my God." But if you're in going trekking somewhere and you still have to climb, you never say, "Oh my God." When your survival is at stake, you don't complain that nobody loves you. But when you're safe and secure, you start demanding attention. Many people create conflict in order to get attention. This is so true in the case of children, especially. Have you noticed this? A lot of times, children do this. They just need some attention and they'll start throwing things around or shouting or. So Gurudev says, ask yourself this question. Do you seek harmony in every situation or do you seek to widen the differences and prove your righteousness? The seed of negativity and the tendency for conflict in you can be annihilated only by sadhana, by spiritual practices. This is so beautiful. In every situation, do I seek harmony or do I seek to widen the differences? A lot of times, in a situation, unconsciously, we tend to look at the conflict. We tend to recognize the conflict. We tend to recognize the differences, and that creates conflict. Or we try to prove our righteousness. This is how it should be. ऐसा होना चाहिए. And in trying to prove our righteousness, we create more conflict. But if I seek harmony in every situation, then the seed of negativity and the tendency for conflict can be annihilated. And this happens through sadhana. What does sadhana give us? What do our practices give us? What does meditation give us? All our spiritual practices help us to look at the bigger picture, help us to look at the harmony in every situation, help us to move beyond our righteousness to see, oh, this too is possible. Sudarshan Kriya, pranayam, asanas, all of this tends to loosen that identity that we hold on to. I am like this is right, this is wrong. And we're able to become more inclusive. I think the world needs this today, isn't it? A lot of times when we say, oh, I am right, then we are not being inclusive. We are not uh, looking at the other's point of view. Many a times, in the name of wanting to be inclusive, we are exclusive. We say, I won't agree with this person's point of view. But if I'm able to seek harmony in every situation, and how do I seek harmony in every situation? When I see that the other is not the other, but is part of me. And this comes with sadhana. At the Bangalore ashram, some people wanted white bread to be served at breakfast. Some were opposed to this, and it caused a big conflict. It was the only reason they could find to quarrel. One phone call from Gurudev set everyone in astonishment. I This is just one example of a very simple situation. When in the ashram it's so peaceful, everyone's so uplifted that if I re- the reason for a conflict was whether we should have white bread or not have white bread. And yet, when we look at it, it seems so trivial when you look at it later on. And one phone call from Gurudev set everyone in astonishment. What did that one phone call from Gurudev represent? It just represented the the connect that each sadhak had with Gurudev, and how that connecting back to the source helped us to. That is sadhana. What else is sadhana but to connect back with the source? Connect with ourselves. And when we realize the magnanimity of what we are, the magnanimity of consciousness, then all this me and you falls off, and inclusiveness truly starts happening. Gurudev says in the knowledge sheet, it says, a smiling crowd met Sri Sri at the airport with diplomatic reception and piles of flowers everywhere. Sri Sri addressed a group of medical professionals in the afternoon and religious leaders at an interfaith conference that evening. An advanced course followed at a hilltop retreat center. We are happy to see a lady in her mid 30s who had now no difficulty walking. Then she had been in a wheelchair, unable to walk for several years until she met Gurudev on a previous advanced course. On the last day of the course, Gurudev and Sharmila cooked for 20 volunteers who had stayed back. At dinner, 60 hungry people showed up and there was food for everyone. Amid tears and laughter, the party moved to Kuala Lumpur. The Honorable Minister for Works attended the official launching of the Malaysian Art of Living Society. Several prominent leaders came to receive blessings. One of them asked, what is the limit of want? And Gurudev replied, unhappiness. So for me, this knowledge sheet has a very interesting uh, idea. And this idea is that if I really want to remove conflict, then the way to do that is really through sadhana, through all these practices. And Gurudev says very beautifully, when your survival is at stake, you don't complain that nobody loves you. You're so busy surviving. But when you're safe and secure, that's when you demand attention. So maybe it's a good idea to ask ourselves, am I creating conflict? Am I demanding attention? What do you say? Maybe after we watch this, we can look at our own life, maybe make some notes, maybe make uh, some notes for ourselves, whether we make it public or not. But I think it's a great exercise to see that what are the conflicts that I have generated in my life? What are the situations that I've gone through, and where have created a conflict to gain some attention? So if you look this question that Gurudev asks in this knowledge sheet, do you seek harmony in every situation, or do you seek to widen the differences and prove your righteousness? So two things that we tend to do. There is a tendency to widen the difference. There is a tendency in each one of us to say, I'm different. There is a tendency to say there is something in common. And there's another tendency which says, I am different from, I have my identity. मेरे जीने का कुछ वजूद है. There's nothing wrong in that to seek an identity. Yet, higher than that is to seek the commonality. And that brings harmony. And the second thing is to prove our righteousness. I am right and the other is not right. When does that happen? When I hold on to my identity and say my way or the highway. But if we can shift that to say, if we can shift that to say that let me try to understand the other's point of view. And many a time we'll recognize that the seed of conflict just dissolves with that attitude. And to bring that attitude, it's very easy to say on a YouTube talk that, hey, come on, look at the other's point of view. It seems right, yet it seems very difficult to do. That's why all of this knowledge, there's so many good advices on this planet. So many people advise such nice things, which are perfectly true. Yet to implement them is why sadhana is required, is why meditation is required, is why Sudarshan Kriya is required. Sudarshan, a proper vision. How do I look at this world in a different way? And that is what for me the Sudarshan Kriya brings. And so many places I've seen where um, people meditate, where people have been doing the Sudarshan Kriya, conflicts come down. At the same time, Gurudev says very interestingly, when there's nothing else to, when everything is safe and secure, then the mind tends to generate conflicts out of small things also. That's where sadhana is a perennial exercise. It keeps going on and on. I can't say I've had my bath today, forget about bathing tomorrow. No, every day you bathe once again, and that's why sadhana is so essential in our life, isn't it? What do you say? Great. Any questions? Please feel free to put it in the comment section. And this is a very short yet profound knowledge sheet. As a homework, let's look at all the conflicts that seem to be there in our life. Let's look at all the differences that seem to be there in our life. Let's look at all the righteousness that we tend to hold on to and see if we can transform that. And in transforming that, resolve more conflicts in life. Yeah, does that make sense? Wow. So that's all for tonight. So next week, we'll look at knowledge sheet number 129, which is memory. And Gurudev gives a very beautiful way how we can handle our memory. So many times, our memories are what creates problems for us. So if you want to find out the secret of how to handle our own memories, knowledge sheet number 129 is what you should look at. And I will schedule the YouTube video for next week right away. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the comment section even before the video starts. And I'll see you again next week. Jai Gurudev, keep smiling and keep doing your sadhana and figure out how to resolve all the conflicts, if at all there are any in our life. Jai Gurudev. Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Savitri.